First. So the first thing we said about this course as an introduction in last class, because you are not here, is that
Yeah,
this course is basically going to teach you two things. The first one is how to listen. The second one is how to read. That is, or those are the main reasons why they formed this course. Because in your university study, you will be listening to one thing or the other all through before you graduate. And in your university life, you have to read at one time or the other. So how do you do those two activities effectively? That is what this course is all about to teach you. Last class, we talked at length on what is listening, who is a listener, why must we listen, what do we listen to, the skills of listening. We use a formula in the last class. Go and watch the YouTube video. The formula we used in the last class was is it FC triple A or something like that, which is the full meaning of that formula is for we actually formulated that formula on listening enabling skills. That is the skills you will require or you need in order to be able to listen very well. And we use the FC triple A. That is the formula. Why F stands for functioning ears. For you to listen effectively, you must have ears that can hear word very well. Functioning ears. The second one is must concentrate. That is the C stands for concentration. FCAAA or FC triple A. So the first A means ability to think along with the speaker, and that is the third listening enabling skill. And then the fourth A, oh, sorry, the fourth thing there, which is another A, stands for ability to anticipate what the speaker is about to say. And the last one is ability to note signpost. We've talked about that at length. What I want us to talk about today is on recognizing how to recognize what kind of essay is this. For instance, you are given an essay, which is a common thing in GST101 exam. They will write an essay there. They will not ask you if it is what type of essay it is. Is it a descriptive essay? Is it a narrative essay? Is it an expository essay? Or what kind of essay is it? So that will lead us to reading about the types of writing styles that we have. When you want to develop, you have a story or you have something to write. What kind of method will you use in writing it? What kind of writing method will you use in writing? Uh, sorry, is that topic for 101? I think that topic is for 102.
okay.
Yes, that topic is for 102. Sorry.
Uh,
I'm mixing it up already. Writing is
mm,
for 102, not for 101.
okay.
Okay, yes, it's here. It's the last this thing. Sorry. The last mode 4. So that is what we are doing today.
Okay. Module 4, okay.
Let me go there and we see. Yes. Ah, no, this is unit 4. I've gone far already. Where did mode 4 start from? We want to look at the several methods of writing essays that we have. Where do we have module 4 starting from? Unit 3, reading for vocabulary development. I think this is still,
Mm,
where did module 4 start from? Oh, Biko? I think we are past. Okay, why am I stopping? Let's check from the table of contents there.
yeah. Good module 4.
Yes, so we have, this one did not put. this thing there. Okay. All right, let's see it from here. Module 4 is starting from page 179. That's good. So,
Good to it.
179.
109. Mhm.
No reach there.
No, I'm coming. 109. I'm 4.
We'll soon get there. I think it's the next one now.
Yeah.
Hmm. This is not giving me what I want to. You're welcome, Mary Joseph. You've not missed much. We just want to start. Okay, this is
Another
unit
one.
unit 3. So I think we are starting from the unit 1 because this topic is very important. Seriously, you will need it to. They will give you a passage and ask you what kind of passage is it. Hmm. Why are we not saying 179 like this? So I
I'm
think
not even doing it yet.
I'm coming. Let me check the cost content again. It's showing 179 there, but I'm not sure this is 179. Okay, okay, this is diverse. Okay, let me just go like this.
Okay. You
Let me
did
come.
downward. Module 3. I'm coming. You didn't need to go down.
I will just search for it. Don't worry. That's another method. Instead of wasting time. This is one. Good. Module 4. This is the first one we are going to be treating on module 4. Now, the reason why I want to take this topic before all, we jump so many modules now. The last time
Yeah.
we only talked on module 1 and just maybe first 2 units. But this topic
Yeah.
is very important because you can't escape from it. They will give you a text. If you have done your TMA, you will know what I'm saying. You see several text or essays that were given to you, and you are asked to identify what kind of essay they were,
It's
whether it is narrative or expository or descriptive. So we need the knowledge of this unit. Very, very important. So now we are going to be dealing with several things on this module. Reading diverse text like the narratives, the expository, and then reading and comprehending passages with tables and charts. We have some passages that we have tables, that we have charts. How do you read and understand them? When you get to some of your courses that have tables and charts, how will you understand the reading? That is what this topic want to teach you. Then reading scientific text. For those of you that are in the science department, scientific texts are mostly filled with calculations, abbreviations, symbols, uh, SI units and the rest of them, unit and measurement and the rest of them. So how do you read those kind of passages and then understand them? Remember, this course, GS101, is basically taking you through two important skills: listening and reading. Listening and reading. And then we're going to be talking about reading for interpretation and critical evaluation. But today, our focus will be reading diverse text, narratives. We are dealing with narratives. When you hear narratives, what should come to your mind first is what? Stories. When you are given a text in exam or an essay in the question, and they say, what kind of essay is this, or what kind of uh, writing style was used in the essay above? Once you notice anything like story, once the essay looks like a story, like they say many years ago, Dotun married Kinukan Kinukan, or while I was living in Kinukan Kinukan, I went to so anything that shows or that looks like a story, like somebody is telling a story, that is what we call narration or the narrative method. So it's very, in fact, I think the easiest one to decode is narrative essays because they are stories. So you already know from looking at them, you don't need to crack your brain. Is this one a descriptive essay or is it what type of essay? Or is it expository? No. Once it's narrative, you will see it because it will be a story. So let's move on. That is just an introduction. So you already have it in your mind that narrative essays are essays that talk about story. If you have a pastor, if your pastor is the type that always tells stories in church, your pastor is always using the narrative method of teaching. That is what it means. Because storytellers are narrators. They narrate events. Now, in this unit, we'll be talking about narrative text, the characters or characteristics of narrative text, and discussion of, okay, there's a story given to us that we are to discuss about, and the title of the story is I Have Found You a Girl. Now, this unit starts the beginning of a new series in this course, which takes you through diverse reading texts that you will come across in your academic life. We have the narrative text, which will be the first type we'll be talking about in this series. And the objective of this unit is that by the end of this unit, as you are going through it tonight, you should be able to define narrative text, identify features of narrative text, read and analyze clearly some selected narrative text. Now, what are narrative text or what are we to know about it? Perhaps the most common of all the text you will find yourself reading from time to time are narrative text. Narrative texts are common because they tell stories. And many people like interesting stories. This is a question in the exam. They do ask it. They'll say dash texts are common because they tell stories. And many people like interesting stories. Narrative text.
Yeah. Mm.
Narrative texts are the ones that are common because they tell stories. In other cases, they do cut out tell stories. So they will say narrative texts are common because they dash, and many people like interesting stories. So you just need to understand and digest this statement. The whole sentence should be in your brain so that in any way or anything they cut out of it, you'll be able to fix it.
Mm.
Narrative texts are common because they tell stories and many people like interesting stories. Now, this section introduces you to narrative text. Of course, there are different types of narrative text. Some tell a sad or tragic story. When you say sad, it's also the same thing as tragic
Yeah.
story. While some make you laugh, some stories are written in form of novels, and these are called long stories. Some are also written in
Mm.
short forms. They are called short stories.
Well,
Novels are called long stories.
long
You
story.
have to note it. Because those are
Yeah.
things you ask you. Exam is very cheap, but it's just that the things you will not put your mind on, something you think is just rubbish, is not necessary.
Mm.
That is what they will ask you. So
Yeah.
now, novels are written, they are long stories.
Yeah. Long story.
Now, you
Long
need to
story.
read stories in order to increase your reading speed and comprehension rate. The purpose of stories in your academic life, you don't necessarily need stories. You are not in school to read stories, but you need to learn or you need to use them as a stepping stone to build your reading speed. So you read stories what in order to increase your reading speed and your comprehension rate. Comprehension also means understanding rate. So comprehension rate also means understanding rate. So now stories also give you various experiences about life. Of course, if somebody should open up his own life story now, you will learn one or two things from the person's experience because The person must have gone through a lot in life, and then narrating it to you gives you a picture of what life has been to the person. And if such occurrences are to happen in your own life, you know how to adjust and overcome them. Now, such experiences that a person can narrate as part of his or her story can come in form of joy, sadness, conflict, destruction, suffering, affluence, greed, avarice, and so on. The experiences portrayed by stories often develop in form of the theme of the story or novel. Yes, mostly when you are reading stories, the title of that story will already tell you what you are expecting in it. So the experience you are going to meet in the story as you are reading, as well as you try to read the story, is already portrayed in the topic or in the title of that story. That's why you see when you go to the bookshop, you are most interested in the title of the books that are there. Is the title that attracts you, that this one is talking about this, maybe the joy of motherhood. Let me buy it. I want to see how motherhood or how mothers experience the motherhood life. Now, reading of story can also increase your vocabulary power. Sure, when you are reading a story and you come across a grammar that you have not seen before, you check the meaning, you learn it, you're adding to your word bank. That is it. Now, from stories, you come across many words and expressions which become part and parcel of you as you read extensively. And let's leave all of that and see what we're actually here to do. What are the characters of a narrative text or characteristics of narrative text? Please, as you are going, the purpose of teaching you these characteristics is not that in exam they will ask you what are the characteristics. It's for you to know what exactly are, what will I see. You know, the way they ask it in the exam is they will show you a story. Let me see something here. Are you seeing my new screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to show us something in the mock exam. I want to show us a sample of what I'm saying. Okay, I need to go and log in. Okay. Please give me 1 minute. I want to show us the reason why they need to tell you the characteristics of narrative text is so that when you, because it will be very confusing when you are trying to check in exam for answer, when you see some text that they're asking you to identify, it may become hard for you to deduce whether it is a narrative text or an expository text or a descriptive text, depends. So, but once you already know the characters of each of them, it will not be hard for you. Let me see if I will soon see a question that talk about, that give a story and say you should narrate it. Look at this. No, this one is not that type of, is not the nature of question we're looking for. This one is filling the gap. We're soon going to, we'll get there. Don't worry, we'll get there. By now, you guys should be trying yourself on this mock exam, small. Where are we going to see passage? Oh, good. Look at what we are saying. Can you see my screen very well? I should bring it up a bit.
Yeah. A bit.
Is it visible now?
Yeah.
Good. This is a question in the exam. This one is no question. It's not a question we form ourselves. It's in your exam question bank. So you may be lucky that it will pop up in your exam too. Now, read the passage. Many years ago, Dotun married his wife, Morenike. In fact, from the beginning, you already know that this is a story. You understand? This is
A narrative.
purely a story. So the answer will just be narrative.
Narrative. Yeah.
But if I don't know that the meaning of narrative means story, how would I
Mm,
have picked narrative? You know that I'll be confused. So that is why
yeah.
we want to talk about the characteristics of what? A narrative text or
Narrative.
narrative text. So that when you see one, you will not be confused by saying, this thing, is it argumentative essay or is it expository text? What kind of text is this? You will not be confused. You won't waste time on something, you should just pick and go. That is the reason for the characteristics of. Now, what are the things you will see in the text that you will just conclude that the text is a narrative text? One, narrative texts range from the ones written in an extremely informal style, full of slangs, colloquialisms, to the semi-formal ones, and then in most cases, narratives are most formal, are not formal, sorry, except a role is given to character who speaks in a formal style. What they are trying to tell you is that the type of text a narrative text is an informal one. You know, a story can contain so many things like slang, you know, like somebody, like some coded language that some set of people are using because it's a story. It happened. You understand? You are narrating what happened. Although most of the narrative texts are imaginations. A story doesn't have to happen for you to write about it. You can imagine a story and write it. Like when you are trying to pass your WAEC, your secondary school WAEC, there is a part of it that they will say, assuming your uncle is living in London, write a letter. You understand? Or develop a story that ends with kiniko, Adibia had known. All those kind of things. It's not really like the
Mm.
story happened, but you have to imagine something and write something there. So that is one other character of what we'll get there. Don't worry. I think I'm jumping. So the first thing is that narrative texts are informal. Is in fact is a very rare thing for you to see a narrative text being formal. The meaning of formal means that when we say something is formal, a formal text is the one that use professional languages, expressions. All the expressions must be professional. No, you are not allowed to use slang like how far, wetin dey sup. If you are narrating a story, you can write things like that. You can use normal street slangs in your narration. So the first thing is that it is informal. One thing you should pick out here is that if they ask you that in most cases, comma, dash are not formal, except a role is given to a character who speaks in a formal style. What is that? Narratives. Hope I see here. Narratives. In most cases, they are not formal, except a role is given to a character who needs to speak formally. Now, hope you are still hearing me, Sha, because this one that I showed my network is something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right.
Right.
So all narratives are to follow a storyline, starting with the background to the story, the plot, that is the unfolding of the plan or an outline of events in novel, the climax, which is the most exciting or important event or point in the story. This is a question though in the exam. They will tell you that the most interesting point in the story or the most exciting point in the story is the dash. They will now put some option. Is the climax. So you know that point that when you are reading a story, it will be like you will not stand up again. You must see what will happen next. You want to see that one is the most suspense. But the most interesting part that as you are reading it, the thing is entering your body, you are feeling like, no. This story is interesting. Maybe when the actor kill the boss or the boss or whatever, or something you're actually expecting happened. That is the climax, the most exciting part, where you sometimes even when you get to that point you may stand up and shout and be happy, just like that, only you, and people will be wondering. That is the climax. The plot, they may ask you question on the plot too. What is the plot? That is the order in which the writer is outlining the events in the story. Now, a storyline ends with the fall or the final part of the story where all events have been fully unfolded. So, very important here is that you should know the meaning of climax and plot. Climax and plot. Now, a good narrative keeps the reader in suspense. That is another thing. How did they ask this question? Those of you that did tell me yourself, that question is also in this mock exam. You meet it there if when you start doing your mock exam. So there is a question of suspense that says that I don't know how to ask that question, but the question is asking on suspense. You meet it in the mock exam. No, thus, when you become accustomed to reading an interesting story, you hardly want to drop the book until you finish reading it. This is because you want the suspense created to be unfolded. For example, a story may start with a mystery surrounding a particular episode or event. As you go through the storyline, the mystery is gradually unfolded, I think. Or, yes, until you come to the end and it becomes no mystery again. Now, a narrative follows a sequential order. This is another story. Sorry, another question. In most cases, they ask you that a dash follows a sequential, or what order does narrative text follow? They follow what? A sequential order. I've seen this in TMA, even this semester. Sequential order. That is how you arrange a story. The event may be organized in chronological order of time, order of importance, or the end of seriousness of the event. Now, explanation does not form the major part of a story. This is another question. Does not form the major part of a story. They ask question on this. Explanation. When you are telling a story, you are not explaining. That is not the work of a story. So explanation is not part, except when a particular character is invited in the story to give an explanation of a particular event or situation. Now, vividness. Don't forget that all we are dealing with now are characters of narrative text. And I think that is all we'll be able to do tonight. We'll meet in our next class and talk on other things. Now, what's this character of vividness? What does it mean? Making all characters and events real. Clarity, interesting episode, imagination are all qualities of a story. Now, in storytelling, exaggerations, untrue events, fables are acceptable. Why? Because it's a story, it can be imagined. So it's not like a scientific text that it must be accurate. This one, even if you are lying, once you are getting the attention of your audience, you are good to go. Now that we have briefly outlined the major characters of the narrative, we will expose you to some narratives. Our aim is to analyze some of these stories to bring out some of the characteristics we have outlined above. All these are not necessary. But what you should know is that once you see any text that looks like this, is a story. So when they ask what type of text, the main purpose of this unit is for you to be able to identify at any given point in time a narrative text when you see one. And I think from all that we have said now, is there anybody that still have confusion identifying a narrative text? What is the direct opposite, or sorry, not opposite, sorry, the direct meaning or synonym that we can give narrative? Let me see if we have followed. It's a question. Instead of saying narrative, what can I say? What can I call it? Yes, we're asking the question now. We've come to the end of what we want to do. Next class, we'll go to another type of text. It's a general question though. Anybody can answer. If I don't want to say narrative, which other word can I use to tell someone directly instead of saying narrative?
Maybe a story.
Story, that is just it.
Yeah.
So I want you to put that in mind, that narrative goes hand in hand with story. So when you see a text like this in the exam and they're asking you what kind of text it is, and you notice that it's a story, just pick narrative and move
Yeah.
on.
All right.
Yes, you just pick narrative and move on. Look at this one now. They say, read the passage. Good day, everyone. Today I'm going to show you. In fact, that show you means that the person wants to expose you to something that you don't know before.
Mm.
If they ask you
Mm.
this kind of essay now, that what kind of essay it is, don't worry, we have not done it. We'll get there in next class or so. This is an
Okay.
expository essay. And what is the work of expository essay is to expose you to something new that you have not done before,
Mm.
that you have not heard of before. That is the work. So this type of essay now is and mostly they come in instruction. Somebody is giving
Mm.
instruction on what to do, how to do, what to go about. So this one will be instruction. So I'm just using these stories to tell us how to go about. We don't have time again. Do you have any question?
Yeah.
Look at it now. Good day, everyone. Today, now the answer will be expository, not narrative. This one is not a story. Oh.
Mm.
Don't say because you see good day, everyone. Today, I'm going to show you how to paint a room. First, you need to choose a paint color. This is not a
Sure.
narrative. This person is
Mm.
exposing you to something, how to paint a room.
Mm.
So, any question on narrative text? This is how we'll be doing. No, we're not following the material serially, like because we started from listening, we'll now continue like that. No, I will picking important things that I know do come out every year because this is revision. You won't miss out of anything. Any question? We have just 2 minutes to go. Many of us are here. Any question on narrative text? Please don't forget the things that we have mentioned that are very important, like the meaning of suspense, the meaning of plot. Those are important things you should note. And how a narrative tells a story. That is the main work of a narrative.